Well, I said it was John Pitts from Wichita Falls High, Texas Tech, along with Byron Wright from Hershey at Texas Tech.
Smart, isn't he?
And I said it was Trey Cowan from Wichita Falls High, and Omar Thompson from Wichita Falls High, and that fabulous quarterback Ramon Flanigan from the Rider Raiders at SMU.
Man, you're something else. For Cajun, you're pretty smart. Coach, that's great. Listen, how you been doing this summer?
Yeah, I've been doing fine.
Well, listen, I tried to call you today, but we got to get you lined up for our show possibly around the 21st of July. As everyone knows, and some of you that don't know, Coach Blue will be heading up the Texas squad here for the Oil Bowl game August 8th. And Coach, we got to have you on before that game, all right?
Okay, that'll be fine.
All right. Hey, thanks for calling and keep watching. Anything you want to tell Ramon or John while they're here?
Well, I saw Ramon coming out of the weight room today, so I'll tell John we appreciate it. He's done a great job up there, and good luck to Ramon.
Hey, thanks much.
You bet.
We'll see you later.
Okay.
Now, that is a good guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He really is. Ramon, we were talking to John. Let me ask you something. What, as you span your career at Rider, what do you consider to be some of the highlights of your career there?
I think my most exciting moment at Rider was the first Saturday we got into the playoffs. A lot of coin flip, but anyway is a good way, so I was excited about that. I think that's my most exciting moment at Rider.
Now, your career there, I guess when you were a freshman, Don Hartman was completing his last year as head coach. Is that right? And of course, in your sophomore through senior year, you head coach the Blue. Anyway, and which you can say that how Coach Blue may have influenced you and what an impact he made on you as an athlete and as a student.
Coach Blue, he was basically my whole coach. He came in our freshman year, after our freshman year, and he was always there to give me encouraging words. He and Coach Noble. I think I attribute most of my success to those two guys.
About the loss to MacArthur, I know you guys the week before were on a high because you had the coin flip, and that was a pretty tense moment, I know. You won the coin flip. You knew, hey, guys, we're finally in the playoffs. This is what we've all been striving for and shooting for. And, you know, Ramon, y'all had a real good opportunity to win that first playoff game right here at Memorial Stadium against Irving MacArthur. And I know it hurt me and most of the people around here because, you know, the Coyotes were in the playoffs, Rider was in the playoffs, and we wanted our teams to get there. And you guys really had a tough loss to MacArthur.
Yes, we did. The loss was tough in two ways. We wanted to give the coaches a reward for all their hard work they had done for us. And also, the Coyotes had been eliminated that Friday night. We wanted to go a step further than the Coyotes. Not taking anything away from this season, but we will always want to get that little extra push on the Coyotes.
God knows about that, don't you? It's funny you mentioned that because the Friday night preceding the Saturday afternoon playoff game here at Memorial Stadium, Rider against Irving MacArthur, WFTV did travel to Denton, and we did do the game that the Coyotes had against Everman, and lost that game. And one of the first things, it's funny you said that because one of the first things that came to my mind as the seconds were ticking off the clock in Denton, well, the Coyotes lost. Boy, I sure hope Rider can win tomorrow to keep, to keep Wichita Falls High School team in the playoffs. But just wasn't meant to be. But a successful season for the Raiders and a successful career for your Rider as well.
Hopefully we built some traditions and stability at Rider football. With Coach Blue and all the guys coming back, they should be successful for years to come.
John, I asked Ramon about his career at Rider. I know there was one man particularly that you mentioned to me that had a tremendous influence on your life as far as football is concerned, but not just football, but life as a game. And I think that was Joe Bob Tyler.
Yes, Coach Tyler has been a great deal to me. He's been, of all the coaches I've had, he's been the one that I respect and think about the most when I think back over my career of football. And he's done a lot to make me the football player and the man that I am today.
And you also talked about, too, I asked you during your career at Old High, who was your line coach, and I had no idea that the head coach was your line coach. And you said you learned a lot from him there.
Oh, he was great. He knew the single wing offense backwards and forwards, and he made it a lot of fun for us.
Looking back on your career at Old High, what are two of the say that I think you're probably your sophomore year and your junior year probably stand out?
They really did.
And the reason being,
we were in the playoffs, and it was great. It's funny we should mention that they lost to Irving MacArthur. We had a heartbreaking loss as well when I was a sophomore. And I know exactly how it feels. Well,
and that was also at Memorial Stadium.
That was the Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, when you think about it, Irving MacArthur's been up here, what, twice?
They've done
and
well.
they're 2-0.
And they
Go back to that game.
Well, it was our first time in the playoffs, and he was talking about building tradition, and we were really glad to get back to this tradition in Little High and get back to the playoffs for the first time in 13 years or something. We won our first game, and then our second game, we didn't win. We lost in the last seconds, and that was really hard for us. But the next year we came back and went even farther, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the next year you came back, and I think that was the particular season when you had some real tough competition. Went out to San Angelo, I think, and defeated those guys out there. And then the game when we came back, I mentioned earlier about Fouts Field over in Denton. That was a game against LD Bell. I think it was raining, pouring down rain.
Cold.
Temperature was in the upper 30s, low 40s. And a game that the Coyotes got out in front, by 2 touchdowns, I think.
Right off the bat.
Yep, and then what happened towards the end?
And then they came back. They had a really good team, and they played well together. I think they've been playing as a group since they were in high school and at junior high. And they were a good team.
And a guy that you played against, the quarterback to LD Bell, is now probably a good friend of yours.
He's a really good
about
friend.
that.
Well, their starting quarterback, who's a year older than I was, went to Texas Tech, and he's been our starting quarterback for 3 years. And he's an avid golfer, and I am too. So we end up playing a lot of golf together, and he's a good guy. We still razz each other a lot about that and argue who had the best team. So we still have a lot of fun with that.
A lot of good memories.
Mm-hmm.
2-a-days at Tech. Now, Ramon had told me that
3 days.
is 3. Yeah, I'm going to work out 3 times.
Oh yeah.
Well, tell us about that.
Well, it's a little bit different in high school. In the 3 days, you have a special teams practice in the middle, or at least that's the way we do it. And it's an all-day ordeal, and you're really glad when it's over. So I'm looking forward to this being my last one of those.
That's when you're literally eat, drink, and sleep football.
Oh, you pray for
every
sleep.
day.
That's the best
You.
thing. $1,000 to sleep, and you'd rather sleep.
I can remember when we were playing, when we were in high school, and I grew up in Houston, and we had 2-a-days down there in the heat, plus the humidity. But I mean, you got up, and it was go to practice. It was come home, get something to eat, lie down, go to sleep for a while, get back up, be at school at 3 for chalk toss, and on the field by 4, and you're out there until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. I'm saying, literally, guys, it was football all day
In
long.
college, even more so, we have meetings, and those last for probably an hour of practice. So you have 3 hours of meetings. And it takes up the whole day.
I know it does. Let's get back to the phone line. Thanks for calling here on Sportsline.
Can you ask Mr. Flanigan what is he going to do his freshman year at SMU?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. Well, Ramon, that's a good point, too. Are you going to go in as a quarterback now?
Yes, they're looking at me as quarterback. They've only got one quarterback that's healthy right now. The rest of them blew out their knees in spring and last season. So they're not really talking about redshirting me this year, and they're expecting me to play more than they thought when they recruited me.
Is Romo still there?
Romo's still there. I talked to him last week. He's thinking about coming back, but they're really doubtful that he will. So everything's kind of up in the air with the quarterback
Now, if he
situation.
did come back, is he a junior, senior?
He'll be a senior this
He'll
year.
be a senior, okay. Any other questions?
I just want to tell Ramon I think he's going to do a good job at SMU.
Thanks.
Appreciate you calling.
Ramon, this is Michael Hansel.
Okay, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Michael. All right. We talked about Dave Campbell's Texas football. It just came out, I guess it just came out. Hadn't been on the newsstands too long. And they pick, I know when he picked y'all, some of the sports writers picked Texas Tech to finish second. Everybody's picking A&M to repeat. And I guess you got to look at the Aggies. When you look at the athletes they've got at College Station, you look at the athletes they've got coming back, you have to not pick A&M. But I know some of the predictions that Texas has mentioned, Texas Tech has mentioned. Now, Houston and Baylor dropped down a little bit from where they've been in the past. But how do you see it? Because you talked about being in the bowl last year and the guys that you've got coming back. I mean, John, what's it look like for 92? It looks pretty good for the fall of 92.
It really looks good for Texas Tech. If we can stay healthy, and that's very important in college football, staying healthy, I think we'll do really well. I'm really looking forward to the season.
You guys, I'm sure the guys are pretty excited about things getting underway, and maybe for the first time in several years they can look at it and say, hey, we've got a legitimate shot
We really
to
do.
do things in Cotton.
We believe in ourselves, and I don't know, being picked second is kind of a blessing, and it's kind of nice, because now you're just not the underdog. You might, surprise somebody. You got to really go out and play.
You got to do it week after week.
So So it's going to be tough, but I think we got the team that can get us there.
How does y'all schedule shaping up? Where do you play A&M?
We play, that's the only problem. We got to go down there. But we did well last time when we went down there, and hopefully we'll do well again.
Okay, and maybe mention some of the others, Baylor, Texas, Houston. Where do you play those?
We've got the rest of the really tough games at home. We have Houston at home. We have Texas at home. We have to go down there and play Baylor, and that's no, we have Baylor at home. I'm sorry. Okay. So we have those 3 games at home.
I'll tell you, a team that you don't want to forget is Rice with that outstanding running back, Trevor Cobb coming back. They really
we had a humiliating game the last time we went down there and played them, and it was awful. So we won't ever underestimate those guys.
Ramon, and again, getting back to you being an incoming freshman now at a major college, what is the anticipation like now? I mean, like you know what it's like in high school, and you're saying, hey, Ramon, I'm going from high school to football. What are you thinking about right now?
The pressure, I don't think, it's going to be a little pressure, but with us being picked the last and everything, we don't have any expectations to look up to, and we can just prove a lot of people wrong, hopefully, next year.
So if he's kind of loose as a goose, huh? Just kind of let it happen.
Yeah.
All right, we got another phone call. Thanks for calling on Sportsline.
What's hey, Donnie?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, fine. How are you now?
Well, doing great. Thanks for calling.
How do you know about those 2 days? Can you remember those that far back?
I sure can. I used to dread, I swear I dreaded 2 days, but I think y'all don't, neither one of you did spring training, but I used to dread spring training more than anything, because that was like 21 days of pure heck.
Hey, Donnie?
Yeah.
I'm going to be working with one of your kids this summer, this 2 days, so you know who this is?
Yeah, I know exactly what you say.
Hey, tell Big John that we appreciate it if you send us a photograph of his Texas Tech. We put it up on a bulletin board.
You know who this is?
Just like Coach Carroll.
Coach Norris.
Coach Norris.
Is it Harold?
Yeah, you bet.
All right. Huh?
You'll send us a big picture, but we appreciate it. We'll put it up on a bulletin board for all the boys.
I sure will, sir.
I sure appreciate it. Hey, Donnie?
Yes, sir.
We'll take care of those 2 days.
All right. I know you will. All right. Hey,
Appreciate it.
you bet. Thanks for calling, Coach.
2 days is something you never forget the entire of your life. You never forget.
And you know what you're always waiting for when school goes to traveling?
Oh, yeah, you're really looking forward to it.
I know it. You never think you want school to start, but you do when 2 days get underway. Ramon, again, we were talking a second ago about SMU and of course, the preseason predictions. But how about the number of seniors or guys that will be seniors coming back?
Okay, I'm not sure of the numbers, but this will be SMU's first senior class since the death penalty.
Okay.
And so with that experience and the factor that we don't have to live up to anybody's expectations but our own, I think we'll do better than a lot of people are anticipating us doing.
What was it like going through the recruiting awards after the season was over last year? And you might mention, too, in talking about it, some of the schools that did recruit.
The thing that helped me most was having Scott Salson on my team, an all-state defensive lineman. And a lot of people who weren't looking at me at first saw me on films when they were looking at Scott. And I think that helped me out a lot. I was being recruited by New Mexico State, SMU, Air Force, Northwestern, and West Point Academy. And I enjoyed the recruiting process. There's no pressure for me.
And you mentioned Scott Salson, another good athlete, and a kid that's going to he's going to play in the Big 8.
And he's already gone.
He's gone now? When do they get started, you know?
I'm not sure. He left a week after school's over to get in the conditioning program down there and all. Scott, Nebraska's going to be very good for him, I believe.
Getting talking about recruiting, you mentioned some of the schools. When you went through recruiting, what was it like?
Oh, it was a tough time for me because when you're coming out of high school, you really don't know, where you want to go and what you want to do. And it was tough. Luckily, I just lucked into my deal at Texas Tech, so it was lucky for me. And I think it'll be a good deal. SMU will be really good for him. So I really think it was a hard decision, but I'm really happy with the one I made.
We've got about 2.5 minutes left. Reggie said we've got 2 minutes left. Tell us about Spike Dykes. I mean, this is a guy that's got a heck of a reputation being